I think the reason why Elon Musk does want to talk about Mars specifically is literally just because it's sexier. Mars is just sexier. It's got a fatter ass and a bigger set of bazongas. It's more interesting to talk about. Humans have allegedly, depending on who you ask, already been to the moon. So the idea of going to the moon again is not as sensational. It's not as exciting. It's not as profitable in regards to driving hype toward your stock options as it, pertains to SpaceX. So because of that, going to the moon base, talking about that specifically, which makes a lot more sense, is just not as exciting. It's not gonna drive as many likes on Twitter, which is the most important thing to Elon Musk. So this is Adam something. Very based creator that you should all be subscribed to already. I mean, I don't know why I'm shouting him out. I'm a small mom and pop streamer. This guy's approaching rapidly 1 million subs. But anyways, why a Mars colony is a stupid and dangerous idea, obviously featuring Elon, Chungus, Keanu among us. Now, if you've watched my Twitch streams anyway, twitch.tv/CONURECC, for any amount of time, I've talked about this relatively frequently. I have a big interest in space exploration and development and the technologies related to it, always have. I was into astronomy when I was a kid. I had books on a bunch of different stuff related to it when I was younger as well. So thanks, Dad, for that, because it's a cool interest to have, I think. And in my view, the only reason that outfits like SpaceX exist is because NASA has been criminally underfunded. SpaceX is cool. However, it's not because of Elon Musk. In fact, when I think about SpaceX, I don't think about Elon Musk. I think about the actual engineers and workers there that produce the rockets and do the research and actually engage with the technology in a meaningful way. But, of course, he's the guy. If we actually properly funded NASA and it didn't get, on a good day, 0.05% of our discretionary budget, we could probably produce a lot of cool stuff. A lot of the technology and a lot of the development in engineering have actually led to a variety of goods and services that benefit us here out on Earth. At home, which I think is pretty neat, and theoretically that trend would continue if NASA got proper funding. So how about we watch the god-dang video? What's up, Adam something? What do you have to say?
Hi there, known genius Elon Musk here, full of good ideas that always work out. Tell me, wouldn't it be epic to live on a Mars colony? Life on the red frontier. What could be more
Why the fuck would you want to do this? This is my question. Why would you ever want to be one of the first people to live on Mars? I don't understand it. You have to be literally deranged. Now, all power to the people that when we eventually get to that point, the people that are actually doing that work, all power to them. And they would genuinely be doing an incredibly brave and beneficial thing to humanity so long as it's actually structured in a way that doesn't just lead to their untimely death. But maybe we'll learn more about that as we watch the video.
Epic Reddit 420 keanu reeves than that. But just what is a Mars colony? Well, it's a colony on Mars.
No
it's
way.
The reason why SpaceX exists in the first place, and they are already working on it.
Wait, is that real? The reason SpaceX was created was to accelerate development of rocket technology, all for the goal of establishing a self-sustaining permanent base on Mars. Really? Well, that being said, the development of reusable rockets, which as far as I'm aware, SpaceX had a massive part to play in, pretty cool. Which is why I always give credit to the engineers at SpaceX for doing the damn work. But I will never give Elon Musk anything less than scorn and disdain for a variety of reasons, which I'm sure we'll get into.
The establishment of the colony itself, together with a lunar base, is scheduled for 2022.
Lunar base? Oh, okay. Well, that's better than just worrying about Mars.
Yeah, a Mars colony is an extremely stupid and dangerous idea, and it will be for the foreseeable future.
True.
And I'm here to explain why. If you are excited about a Mars colony, chances are it's because of Elon Musk.
Probably, yeah. So, I have always said that a moon base is infinitely preferable and seemingly the logical next step. It is literally a celestial body that orbits our home planet. It doesn't have an atmosphere, or at least it doesn't have an atmosphere similar to Earth. It's not affected as much by gravity as Earth is when it comes to rockets exiting not only the atmosphere, but also gravitational pull of the Earth. So if you can transport things to a moon base and then use the moon base as the primary launching pad to go wherever else, theoretically you have to use less fuel in order to escape the influence of the gravity of the moon and the Earth, and then also there's no atmosphere to have to fight through. It just seems like a smart idea. I think there are sound reasons that people smarter than me that are actually in aerospace engineering might be able to answer. But it always just seemed like a logical next step. I don't know why you would skip right to Mars. Now, I kind of know why. I think the reason why Elon Musk does want to talk about Mars specifically is literally just because it's sexier. Mars is just sexier. It's got a fatter ass and a bigger set of bazongas. It's more interesting to talk about. Humans have allegedly, depending on who you ask, already been to the moon. So the idea of going to the moon again is not as sensational. It's not as exciting. It's not as profitable in regards to driving hype toward your stock options as it, pertains to SpaceX and even Tesla and other things like that Elon Musk works on. So because of that, going to the moon base and having that be your main plan, which NASA already has, I think, recently released information about developing a lunar base. Talking about that specifically, which makes a lot more sense, it's just not as exciting. It's not going to drive as many likes on Twitter, which is the most important thing to Elon Musk. And I don't know, it's annoying. Because I feel like you'd rather be realistic about it. You can still talk about a Mars base. Be like, yeah, we make the moon base, and then theoretically we could go to Venus, we could go to Mars, we could go to Uranus, we could do a whole bunch of things. And the moon base would facilitate that. You could still talk about it. I don't know, it just seems like it's literally just because it's more exciting.
Like Elon Musk, who pay millions of dollars to market themselves as real-life Tony Starks, have managed to convince a lot of people that our level of technology is far more advanced than it actually is. I call this the Marvel effect, since their movies do the exact same thing.
True.
Don't tell me that when you first saw the SHIELD helicarrier, you didn't think it was sorta possible to build in real life with our existing technology. And
I don't know what that is.
Don't get me wrong, we have come a long way in terms of what we can accomplish, but colonizing Mars, let alone fucking terraforming, is still out of our reach. But
maybe that's the reason. I don't know what the hell this thing is. I don't know what that is. And maybe the reason why I have the takes that I have, and I'm not an Elon Musk fanboy, is because I don't watch Marvel shit. I don't hate myself, so I don't watch superhero shit. Now, maybe, go back into the past when it was actually like a niche interest of people that, people got made fun of for being into comics and whatnot, superhero stuff, then maybe it was cool. But nowadays, it's completely mainstream and commodified to hell, and it's just not interesting to me. I've never been a superhero person. Even as a kid, I did not give a shit. My superhero was Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and, Solid Snake. So, maybe I'm just, built differently.
So throughout the video, we'll be considering the following points: the logistics of getting to Mars, the potential justifications for a colony, the practical problems of living on Mars, the psychological effects on colonists, fucking terraforming, better alternatives to Mars, and a mystery point, codename Absolute Trainwreck. And I find the psychological effect especially concerning. Your mental health and Mars aren't exactly a match made in heaven. Exercising mental health...
Listen, I've played RimWorld, okay? I know all about the psychological effect of this kind of thing for your colonists. I've played Faster Than Light, okay? I've got a good base of knowledge about all this.
Let's get started. Problem number 1, the logistics of getting there.
It's kind of far away. That's my guess. It's kind of far away, and not only do you have to transport human beings to Mars, you also have to transport a variety of resources that you'll be using to build the base itself that will house the people that are in the rockets and whatnot. Not only that, but you have to do this several times over and over again. So you send the first fleet of ships out to Mars, you get the human beings there, you get the robots there, and then you get all the materials that you're gonna build shit with, and then you have food and water and whatnot. And then you're gonna have to keep going back and forth and doing that in order to replenish what you need for the things that you burn through. Because, unless we're sending literally, like, the biggest space exploration project known to man, which, going to Mars would be, but, like, all at once, literally, like, 1 billion fucking ships just shipping everything out there on the off chance that it doesn't all go to hell, and then we lose all those resources. You're gonna have to take some time to do that, which is why working on a moon base first, because at the very least you can mine the moon for some resources like titanium, I believe. You can also launch craft from the moon, and theoretically if we can set up a good system from getting to the Earth to the moon without much investment, but I'm sure we'll get to that in the video.
Distance between Earth and Mars is about 230 million kilometers.
It's a light work. I could walk that.
Earth and Mars don't orbit the Sun at the same speed, so you can't just launch a spacecraft willy-nilly. You have to time it right in a so-called launch window, so the trip is as short as possible. This launch window is about 30 days, occurring every 26 months. Launching in this window means that the trip to Mars will only take 7 to 9 months. The logistical implications of this are of course pretty severe. If a resupply mission fails for whatever reason, you're potentially looking at a more than 2-year delay of supplies. Not to mention,
that's just the price for promoting your stock for SpaceX on the public market, or Tesla. You know, that's the cost of being a hype man. I mean, some of you may die, but I'm sure Elon Musk is willing to, you know, make that sacrifice. Aren't you concerned about Bezos and fellow billionaires just sending us there so they can enjoy Earth? I don't know that they would have the logistical capability to send literally every single person that isn't a billionaire to Mars. And also, who's going to be the laborers under them if all the non-billionaires are gone? They kind of need us peasants in order to generate their money. Anyway.
The risk of something going wrong during landing. Now, recently, the rate of failure for Mars missions seems to be lower, but compared to a Mars colony, those are very simple missions where you aren't trying to land years worth of supplies or actual colonists. For me, this would mean sending twice or even 3 times the amount of needed supplies at the same time for a Mars colony with separate transportation, just in case 1 or even 2 of them crash land or something. Of course, cargo can stay in space for longer, so I can imagine you could also pre-launch a whole lot of cargo ships, even outside of the launch window, in a way that they would reach Mars at predetermined times. But this is still suboptimal. Unmanned missions...
And also, imagine being the team behind working all of this out when it actually does come to pass. Jesus, the amount of responsibility necessary, you know, believe you me, Elon Musk, he's not doing a whole lot. And he's certainly not going to be the reason why we have any kind of success in regards to a Mars base. But the team of people whose responsibility it is to work out all these logistics and do all the planning to make this happen, god damn, is that an endeavor. Some may say the biggest engineering project that man has ever attempted. Fuck that. I do not envy that position, but it's a respectable one.
Nothing can go wrong, which means lots of fail-safes, lots of backup, consequently the costs will be horrendous. And for what? Let's take a look at the potential justifications for a Mars colony. And the problem is, there are none. Discounting vagaries like it's for science or the ATIQ lol we're on Mars, currently we have absolutely no reason to be there in person.
Yeah, I also can't think of much of a reason why. Like, obviously making a moon base is infinitely preferable because you can get some utility out of that in the short term. In regards to going to Mars, I think one of the main things people will cite is like, oh, well, if Earth becomes uninhabitable at a certain point, which theoretically human intervention could potentially mitigate the damage to the point where it's not as bad as it could be. Actually doing that, though, is kind of necessary. But anyway, like terraforming Mars and building that Mars colony and whatnot in order to make it essentially a second Earth is also kind of an absurd idea currently, given the amount of technological capability that we have. Like, you would have to do a lot of work for that. You know, we gotta make the most of the planet we're on right now, and we don't seem to be doing that. We seem to be treating her very poorly, and you know, that makes me sad. There's a lot of iron and magnesium on Mars. Well, I don't know. Well, I guess it depends. Asteroid mining is a big thing that, you know, these billionaires are kind of eyeing in the future as well with their space agencies. So, like, this is the main thing I think is interesting to these private firms when it comes to space exploration is not only is it like a PR project, not only is it like a fun little thing they can do with their money, but also if you can be one of the first people to get to mining an asteroid for minerals, you theoretically would then become God King of the universe. Because you would have untold wealth. You would be incalculably wealthy. And at that point, you know, that's kind of a cool thing for people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or whatever, even though I doubt they would see it come to pass in their lifetime. Which is why I like the idea of NASA being the one to do that instead. Now, of course, NASA is going to work with these private enterprise, though to what degree and what deals would be made, I don't know. But at least if NASA was the first to develop the mining of asteroids for resources, that would theoretically make it so that at the very least, NASA, which is ostensibly beholden to the public broadly in America, as it is the government space agency of the United States of America, theoretically, all of the resources they would get would then be in the hands of the United States as a nation state, rather than a single or a handful of billionaires. Now, obviously, that being said, it's America. We live in a capitalist hellscape. It's going to be some shit regardless, and the United States becoming more powerful as a result of that will also potentially wreak havoc on a variety of other nations on this planet. So I don't know. It's a lot of shit. It's a theoretical future that I don't know if we'll see come to pass in my lifetime, and it's interesting to think about, but, you know... Can we just feed the poor with that money? Well, theoretically, we could. The thing about that is you could do both. So I don't know if this is what you're doing, but whenever I see, cool things about space, so like NASA has plans to start a lunar base or whatever, that's pretty pog to me. But then you'll go into the comments and you'll see a lot of people being like, oh my God, NASA, they're gonna spend all this money to make a moon base, but we can't even get healthcare to the people on Earth. And yeah, that's fucked up. That's true. The problem with that line of logic is you're kind of mad at the wrong government institution. NASA on a good day gets 0.05% of the discretionary budget in the United States, whereas the defense budget is nearly half of it. So if you're gonna attack one element of the discretionary budget, you'd probably want to look at defense spending and see what you could shave off of that. Attacking NASA for that is just, you're missing the forest for the trees. Should there be any forest left by the point where this is a thing we're doing? I don't know. It just seems like a short-sighted way of looking at things.
Valuables to extract in large quantities, but even if there were, shipping them back to Earth would make it the most unprofitable venture in human history. In terms of science, there is not much humans could do that rovers can't. Mars is a rock desert. There is not much opportunity to be productive. Now, overpopulation and escaping climate change are reasons people sometimes bring up in favor of colonizing.
These are fucking stupid reasons too, for reasons I imagine, Adam, something you're going to get into. We don't have an overpopulation problem. We could house so many more people if we decommodified housing, but unfortunately we can't do that. And yeah, obviously, even John Brongus, you point out that the Supreme Court decision about Roe v. Wade actually talked about how we're actually losing population. So we don't have an overpopulation problem. This is not a real thing. It's usually just used by people pushing an agenda. And in regards to escaping climate change, Mars is not going to be much better. The amount of time we would need to develop, like we talked about earlier, a Mars colony, by that point, climate change will have wreaked the worst effects on our planet unless we get our act together and actually develop this shit on Earth as well to counteract that, or at least mitigate the damage, because you can't counteract a lot of the shit. We're kind of past the point for some of that.
Overpopulation is only a problem with our current wasteful space use and inefficient food production. If we fixed those with the magic of science, overpopulation would stop being a problem. If you expanded the population density of the Netherlands to the planet's entire land surface, you could theoretically house 75 billion people.
No
or even
way.
if you take half of that, that's still 38 billion, about 5 times the Earth's current population. But if you insist on decreasing the Earth's population through a Mars colony, realistically, you'll have decreased it by about 50. And it only costs you $40 billion per person.
That's light work. That's nothing.
Instead of assembling a colonization mission to Mars, you would achieve more by bulk ordering condoms and handing them out on a street corner for free. As for climate change, people, including Elon Musk, make it sound like Mars would be humanity's plan B in case of a climate disaster on Earth. But by humanity, Elon actually means the select few, aka the top 1%.
Yeah, and imagine what a shit fucking escape from climate change that would be. So, somebody in the chat brought it up earlier. Imagine, climate change because of the inaction of a variety of people in power to actually do a goddamn anything about climate change and keeping this planet as habitable as it can be. Well, then, now because of those people trying to escape that are also a part of why we have the problem to begin with, then they're going to be fucking languishing on Mars. Unless you, somehow massively accelerate technological development, Mars is not going to be, peaches and cream for these people. These people that have not worked a day in their life for, the last several decades, they're going to be on Mars, putting in the work to make that shit happen. There's no shot. It's not happening. They would fall apart. They would break a nail and they'd fall over, cry, and eventually die of starvation and dysentery. It is what it is. Like I said, I've played RimWorld before. I know how this, I've got first-hand experience.
Even assuming we can put together a city-sized functional colony on Mars and we can evacuate, say, 1 million people via rockets, those seats will be distributed based on leverage. You will be on the rocket if you can buy, lobby, or otherwise force your way onto it. And while there are only a few thousand billionaires out there are plenty of millionaires to go around, more than willing to escape the planet in case of a global catastrophe. Humanity's so-called Plan B in case of a climate disaster on Earth would just be a rescue operation for the planet's ruling class, nothing more. But even if the ruling class or anyone else made it there, soon the harsh reality would start setting in.
I'll be on the rocket. They'll understand my indispensable value as a live streamer and YouTube content creator. They would take me with them for sure.
Mars is a kind of orange hell for human beings with a wide range of dying opportunities available to you. Martian atmospheric pressure is less than 1% that of Earth, which means a very thin atmosphere. And
if you want to be my +1 on that trip, well, all you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, put them all on, watch all my videos, like and comment on all my videos, and maybe you too could get a chance to get in the raffle for being my +1 on the Mars evacuation rocket.
Moreover, on Earth, the coldest temperature ever recorded was -89 Celsius Celsius, measured in the Arctic. On Mars,
Jesus.
temperatures often go below...
Canadians be like, ha! Negative 89 degrees Celsius. Ah! I go outside in a t-shirt and shorts and that. Fucking
leaves.
Even if you have a warm period, the thin atmosphere just won't retain any heat. Mars's outer core is also frozen solid, meaning no dynamo effect, meaning no magnetic shield, meaning hazardous levels of cosmic radiation. In addition, gravity is 1/3 that of Earth, so even though you would be able to lift heavy things and bound around, thanks for the tape Elon, there's no telling what health problems low gravity would cause.
In regards to the dangerous solar radiation, it seems like that one of like the theorized solutions is essentially you build like domes and tubes for people to live in, and then you have to cover them with like not only like anti-radiation materials that you can build, but also the dirt and whatnot of the planet itself. So it looks like an ant colony from above, you know what I mean? And that would kind of help in some ways. But that means that you wouldn't have any windows. And there have been studies done on people who have had to be inside of places without being able to see outside. And it's not really good for your mental. It's kind of bad for the brain. The humans of the, of this world, they like to see the outside world. I know none of you do, because you're either watching me on Twitch or on YouTube, so you haven't seen the outside world probably in at least 10 days, and you should. Walk every now and then if you can. Go outside and get a breath of fresh air. But I know it's not a problem for you, but if you think about like the standard human being, of which you are obviously more interesting and cooler, because you watch me, then that's not going to be that great. In regards to the low gravity thing, it seems like unless we can develop some tech to alter gravity or other kind of like tech to help compensate for it, you would have to consistently be exercising to counteract the negatives of that low gravity, which doesn't seem that great. There's a variety of other problems that go into it as well, like the fact that the dust on Mars is incredibly fine, so it's going to get all over everything like sand, it's itchy and gets everywhere, but even worse, it's going to get in all your electronics, which is really bad. And also it's dry as hell, like Ben Shapiro's wife. So it's electromagnetically, charged. And that's not that great for electronics either. So there's like a variety of shit that would not be a lot of fun to deal with on this absolute literal hell world as it exists right now. So like I say, the billionaires that are trying to go to Mars as an escape plan, good luck.
The longest stay in microgravity so far is less than a year. Beyond that, we can only extrapolate. How would the low gravity of Mars affect pregnancies or your cardiovascular system? Who wants to be
we don't need pregnancies on Mars. Why are we bringing birthing people, which is what the liberals would call them, women, on the Mars? That's a man's world, okay? Pregnancies.
First lucky one to find out. In light of these dangers, as far as I can tell, pretty CGI and sleek domes on the Martian surface are...
No abortion on Mars? Well, literally, like, getting an abortion outside of, like, the threat of a mother in a Mars colony would be a kind of a bad idea. You would want to produce as many children as you possibly can, it would seem, in order to produce more laborers, in order to keep the society on Mars functioning. Wait. Huh. Sounds like something related to how that works on Earth as well. Well, anyway, let's go back to Elon Musk.
Complete bullshit, unless you're planning on dying. But if you aren't, your only option is to dig in and live the rest of your life in a Martian underground bunker, only coming out occasionally when there isn't a solar flare blanketing the surface with dangerous levels of radiation. The wide variety of lethal dangers, plus being cramped together in a small underground bunker with dozens of others for the rest of your life, will surely do wonders for your
Imagine the stench.
Health, by the way. And let's talk about that, the psychological effects on colonists. Now, some people might say, we cannot tell for certain what the mental health effects on the colonists would be because there is simply no such precedent. And they would be wrong to say that. We absolutely have precedent, and it's not looking too good. Consider this Quartz article titled, "It's completely ridiculous to think that humans could live on Mars." In this article, there's a useful snippet we will now read together. Despite having a completely breathable atmosphere and plenty of fresh water, Antarctica has no permanent residents. Nobody wants to live there. Scientists who work
Well, that's because they're all pussies. I'm built differently. I will live among the penguins. Theoretically. I'm not actually committed to that in real life, but theoretically. Penguins are cool. And we should make sure that the Antarctic doesn't fucking blow up so that they have a bad time. That's the one reason you should care about climate change, if there is one.
Suffer from a mental health disorder called winter over syndrome, characterized by symptoms such as depression, irritability, aggressive behavior, insomnia, memory deficits, and the occurrence of mild fugue states known as the Antarctic stare. Since it must be a bit like living with a colony of zombies, it's no wonder that they want to stay drunk all winter. Imagine this, but without the atmosphere outside.
That's just my life. Keck, wait. Yeah, a lot of people watching this right now have just had a very dark realization. And I hope you're able to come out the other side of it a better person, okay? This kind of introspection, it's important. Some of these things outside of your control. You gotta play with the cards you're dealt. I believe in you.
The thought that you won't be going home ever again, and the fact that your lives are constantly on a knife's edge because if your life support systems fail, there won't be any rescue operations. In such conditions, all colonists would be varying degrees of insane after a month. If just one of them starts a fire...
Though, to be fair, one of the prerequisites to being one of the first people to try to colonize Mars is to be insane. So maybe that kind of cancels out.
Sabotages the life support system or opens the airlock, everyone will be dead. Now, these mental health problems are caused by Mars being Mars, a hazardous rock desert. But what if we could change that?
Shit.
Turn this dead planet into Earth 2.0. So let's talk about fucking terraforming.
Let's go.
Okay, first off...
So this shit is actually kind of cool. The terraforming ideas that I've heard about Mars are neat. The thing is that when we actually get to the point where we can do it, I'll probably already have been dead for a long time. And even if we did get to the point where we could do it and I'm still alive, I'm 26, I'm a boomer at this point, okay? Well, then I'll be dead for a long time still before it's even possible to have humans there after the terraforming, as far as I'm aware. It's a cool idea. It's a neat idea. I've played Minecraft. I've done my fair share of terraforming, but it does not seem... It does not seem like a quick solution.
As things currently stand, terraforming Mars is...
fucking magic.
We do not have the resources or technology to terraform a planet, despite what Elon Musk would want you to believe. That's more of that Marvel effect, I guess. From the SpaceX website. It's a little cold, but we can warm it up. Presumably Elon will press the magic big brain science button and Mars will just get warmer. The number one thing you would need to do on Mars is to create an atmosphere.
Yup.
But, according to NASA, if you combine all sources of greenhouse gases on Mars, you would end up with an atmosphere 6.9% that of Earth. 93.1...
Check that out. And people said Elon Musk wasn't up to something when he made the cost of a Tesla $69,000 or something. Come on, 69,420, 6.9. NASA, they got their finger on the pulse of the memes. You won't give NASA enough credit.
Terraforming is something we just don't have the technology or resources for. But if that's the case, what else should we do? Let's look at some of the better alternatives to Mars. First off, a simple alternative for all the enthusiasts out there. If you want to try out what it would be like to live on a Mars colony, get together with your enthusiast friends and crowdfund a trip to Antarctica. That should curb all your enthusiasm within a few months. But suppose we are really serious about colonization. And why not? I think it's a good idea. So why not create a colony on the moon?
Let's go!
First? The moon has about 0% atmosphere compared to Mars' 0%.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Mars base, baby. This is the play. Literally, it's a celestial body that orbits the celestial body that we're on right now. It's the closest one. It stays around us for longer, and it's made of cheese. It's kind of cool, I think. We already been there, depending on who you ask. I think we've been there, because I'm brainwashed, surely. So that would be kind of neat, and it would be a better idea, and a lot of the concerns that Adam Something correctly brings up previously would still exist, sure, but at a far, far, far smaller amount, and also it's less of a risk because it's closer to us. You could also try Venus, but, girls go to Venus because they all got a penis or something, so I don't know about that one.
You'll have a much nicer view of space, and travel time is only 3 days instead of 7 to 9 months. If something goes wrong, you can go back to Earth, or at least have a panic module able to sustain you until help arrives. On the moon, your internet latency is only 2.5 seconds instead of half an hour, and you don't have to deal with the soul-crushing realization that you'll never see your friends and family again.
In fact, you might have a psychological uplifting because you're on a goddamn moon base and you can see the Earth theoretically a good amount of time. I don't actually know how that works, but that's kind of neat. I think you might be jamming up there.
Having a permanent base on the moon could also have actual justification.
I think the streamer might be in the pocket of Big Moon. I plead the fifth.
Or a spaceport that could take advantage of the lower gravity, or space tourism facilities for rich assholes, or a massive solar panel installation that can beam back power to Earth, and so on. Some of these ideas are still highly theoretical, others are more feasible, but there is a good chance we'll be seeing at least one of them becoming reality within our life.
You will always see the Earth on the moon, but what about the dark side of it? Like that Pink Floyd album, or whatever.
But what if you just can't let this whole Mars business go? If a moon colony isn't enough for you, you also want to terraform. Well, I have good news. There is a great opportunity.
Well, the question I would have then, because I'm not a fucking astrophysicist, though I did want to be one in my senior year of high school. The idea would be if you're on the moon, right? The Earth is directly in front of you, let's say. So on that face of the moon facing the Earth, well, then you'll probably always see the moon. But what if you just go from that face, but to the opposite end, on the other side? Would you still be able to see the Earth because it's so big compared to the moon? Would you see it around it, or what? I would imagine not. If you're on the ground on the moon? No? That's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about in my chat. You would always see the moon. Goes to show you. No one here is asking what God has to say about terraforming. That's actually a funny thought experiment for me. So what if you could somehow market the moon base to be like the logical next step that God has given us? So for instance, we're put here, we're invented, you know, by God on the Earth. And it's like, okay, well, we happen to be in this solar system in the Milky Way galaxy. This is the spawn point we've been given. So we've got a bunch of planets around us, and we've also got the sun. Well, it seems like since we've been put here by God, then we have been chosen to conquer this solar system. Now we're trying to like conquer the Earth because that's what we were put here to do. So then if we're meant to conquer the rest of the solar system, well, then what's the next? Oh, it's the moon base. The moon, it goes around us. It's almost like it's a very convenient stepping stone that God has decided to put around the Earth for us to develop on as the logical next step in our outward colonization of the solar system. Isn't that crazy?
Planet Earth is a great candidate for terraforming. There are vast areas on this planet that are unsuitable for large-scale human habitat. How about we practice by terraforming the Sahara Desert, and also making sure we don't kill the Amazon rainforest in the process? That would be a great first step, and it would benefit most of everyone. But that doesn't sound sci-fi enough, so Elon Musk was talking about Mars, because that's how you maintain the Tesla stock bubble. So
hey, that's what I said.
Mars colony plans are somewhere between complete absurdity and stock manipulation. But there is one last part of this video. The mystery segment promised early on. One last point to hammer home the true extent of the absurdity of the agitation around colonizing Mars. We need to talk about the lowest common denominator, on par with Nigerian prince email scams and low-effort NFTs. Mars One. Holy shit. And just what is Mars One?
Wait, what is Mars One? I've actually heard this before. What is that?
Was announced in 2012. The goal? To establish a permanent colony on Mars by 2025 with volunteers who get a one-way ticket and will live out the rest of their lives on the planet. The project was headed by a guy named Bas Lansdorp. And no, that text box wasn't me. I took this picture straight from the official Mars.
Wait, who? Bas Lansdorp. Who would trust their lives to try to make a Mars base to a man named Bas Lansdorp? This sounds like if I was having trouble creating a character for a D&D campaign, so I just looked up a fucking D&D campaign name generator, and this came out. Bas Lansdorp. Okay, dude.
Now you might be asking, who in the name of Jesus Rotary Christ would sign up for this? And the answer is, people who either have nothing to fear or nothing to lose. Usually the latter. 200,000 people to be precise, 100 of whom made it to the shortlist. Wife threatens divorce after her husband is considered for one-way trip to space. There is only a slim chance of Mr. Sullivan being selected to live on Mars, as just 24 people will be chosen, but his wife said he did not ask her opinion before completing the application form and said that she could not contemplate leaving her children.
And this is what liberals want you to do. This is what liberals want to bring to you, man. As a goddamn red-blooded, God-fearing American man in this society, liberals want you to have to consult your wife, the mother of your 3 children, about deciding of your own volition, your own freedom as a man, to just go and live on Mars instead without any of your family? A potential death mission? Come on. What? We used to be a country.
Now, as for the mission timeline of Mars One, well, you can find official but completely contradictory information online. The dates are just all over the place. Go figure. I'll just use the Wikipedia page and one of their official promotion videos. 2014, drafting mission concept studies, requesting proposals from aerospace companies, proof of concept for key technologies required. 2015, reducing applicant pool to 40. The candidate pool was reduced to 100. Okay. 2016, the first COMS satellite and lander to demonstrate key technologies. One initial concept study by Lockheed Martin, lander, and Surrey satellite technology, orbiter, not funded nor designed. 2020, settlement components are set up on Mars. 2022, crew departure from Earth. And the first colonists would have arrived in 2023, with the second crew arriving by 2025, and by 2031 the colony would reach 20 colonists.
Oh my god, wait, hello? Wait. So you'd get there in 2023, and let's say it's just split 50-50. So 10 of you get there in 2023, which probably wouldn't be how that works. You'd probably get like a smaller amount of people, just in case shit goes sideways. You don't lose too many people. But let's say you get there with 10 people, and you gotta wait 2 years developing that shit on your own until the next group of 10 people arrives, and now you got a civilization of 20 people. Let's go, dude. What an absolute fucking shit show that would be. Hopefully the robots and drones you have are enough to make up the difference in terms of the labor needed.
One of the participants, though, has a story to tell. Former NASA researcher Joseph Roche signed up for selection to help further popularize space science. To his surprise, he ended up on the top 100 shortlist out of 200,000 applicants. The 200,000 figure was a lie. Worse, according to Roche, some of the leading contenders applicators had simply bought their way into their positions and were being encouraged to donate appearance fees to Mars One. After passing each filter, applicants received points. The amounts were completely arbitrary, and applicants could get additional points by buying Mars One merchandise and through gifts and donations. Otherwise, Roche, despite being on the top 100 list of prospective Mars colonists, never met anyone from Mars One in person. The original plan was to conduct interviews at set locations and be tested for several days, which then got changed into a 10-minute Skype call. Medical examination for colonizing Mars had to be done by each applicant on their own at their local doctor. Otherwise, applicants had to fill out an online test and record a short video about themselves, which they had to upload to the Mars One website. The Skype interview came after, during which Mars One's chief medical officer quizzed you with questions from literature about Mars and the mission that Mars One had provided to all the applicants. It's some very serious selection process you got there. But for me personally, the absolute best part of Mars One is how financing was envisioned. So how was it envisioned? Well, of course, through a reality TV show. What? Yes, this was the actual plan for funding, televising the application process, and then the colonists' day-to-day lives on Mars. Cool, so besides the overwhelming stress and psychological pressure of living on Mars with 9
This is great. This is fucking sick, actually. What an absolute gigabrain idea. This is content, homie. This Landsbergsberg or whatever. Landsberg Bass Pro Shops. This is fucking content right here. This is literally an idea a Twitch streamer would come up with. This would probably be one of the most ethical reality TV shows ever to be made as well, though, to be fair. You gotta give them credit for that, at least.
People also have to be on camera constantly to shoot a reality TV show to gain funding on which their survival depends. No pressure. And I'm sure nothing could ever go wrong with that. You know, filming people under extreme psychological pressure with deteriorating mental health. It's day 80 of the Live on Mars reality show, brought to you by Mars One. Over here we have John writing a manifesto on the wall with appears to be his own feces, having done intense research into makeshift ballistic weapons. In the hallway, Julie strangling Maria in a fit of primal animalistic rage. James is blackout drunk for the 75th consecutive day. Robert is hanging from the ceiling.
He's just doing pull-ups and chin-ups to make sure that the gravity doesn't have that bad of an effect. Don't worry, chat.
I'm sure they're working hard to. The company went bankrupt in 2019. Well, that's not unexpected. Humanity's hopes of colonizing planets have been dashed by this company that planned on colonizing Mars through a reality TV show.
Imagine being this guy. Like, so obviously he probably never thought that it was actually gonna work. But what if it did? What if it actually worked out and you're putting people on a rocket to go to Mars and like you actually have to go through with this idea now? Like, do you think that his bluff would have been called or do you think he would have gone through with it?
Anyway, so this was my video about a Mars colony and why it's a stupid idea, for the time being at least. And I thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I have a Patreon if you want to support me monetarily making this sort of content.
And you should support Adam Something and also me. The big thing that I really don't like about Elon Musk, so for one, he has had a fair amount of influence in regards to revitalizing interest in electric vehicles, which is pretty cool. You can give Tesla credit for that, and Elon Musk, you know, he's a decent hype man for it. And you could argue that it's provoked some other companies who have always had electric vehicles to actually take them a little bit more seriously. I'll give him a little bit of credit for that. Also, SpaceX, the actual engineers, not only at Tesla, but also at SpaceX, do develop a lot of cool shit. They do a good amount of good work. The problem is that they're not Elon Musk, and also they don't really get the best working conditions or the best pay, and Elon Musk is not really a big fan of unions, which is why he's voting Republican now, apparently. Totally not to evade any kind of, you know, scandal or anything. So, while I do give the people that work at SpaceX and Tesla credit for the development that they help to, achieve in regards to electric vehicles or space tech. Elon Musk, I think, through his antics, one of the negatives for me is that, like, he kind of just makes a mockery of these things. The fact that he has a consistent problem because he is the hype man who's trying to keep his stocks afloat, because he overpromises and underdelivers and is constantly like moving the goalposts on the things that he says that he wants to get done, which don't really seem viable, or if they are, they're a bad idea, like the Boring Company or whatever. He kind of just makes a mockery of a lot of the industries that he's, dipped his dick in order to enrich himself. And that's kind of cringe, that's kind of lame in my opinion, because these technologies, these industries, these fields are very important. They're very cool. I have always been, like I said before, a big fan of space tech, exploration, development, all this kind of shit since I was a fucking kid. So to see this man just, you know, be completely out of pocket about all the shit that he's promising and just being an exceptional piece of shit wholesale, it's just unfortunate. I think he kind of like, he muddies the waters around a lot of the actual really cool industry that he weaponizes for cash. And I think that's pretty cringe, in addition to, you know, the myriad of other ways that Musk is cringe. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, have fun. This video's got to call it as BCR04, more like a VCR04. The Zoomers watching won't get that reference, what with their compact discs and iPod Nanos, am I right? If you'd like to be the next Connor Call It, all you gotta do is follow me on Twitter, @ConnorCC, retweet the video links when I go live, same as it always is. Remember to subscribe to the channel, pull on notifications on, and hit the bell, I'd appreciate that as well. Leave a comment down below about how Elon Chungus Keanu Among Us is a cringe lord, soy chugging beta noob or something. And yeah, have a good one.